Everybody wants the shortcut, the magic formula, the three-step hack that'll make them rich, respected, and unstoppable. We scroll through videos looking for secrets, follow people we admire, hoping their success will rub off on us, punishment, and jump from one proven method to another. But here's the truth nobody really wants to hear. There is a shortcut, and it's not glamorous. It's not something you can buy. It's not even something you can post about for instant likes. The shortcut to massive success is the version of yourself you build when nobody's watching. Think about it. Every dream, every opportunity, punishment, every breakthrough you want, it has to pass through you first. And if you aren't ready, it doesn't matter how perfect the opportunity is, it will slip right through your hands. Success doesn't start when you get the big job, punishment, or the big break, or the big deal. It starts when you decide to start building yourself into someone who can handle it. See, most people think they're losing because they're missing the right connections or the right timing or the right resources. But the truth is they're losing because they're skipping the part that matters most, building the foundation. You wouldn't try to put a penthouse on top of a cardboard box, punishment. But that's what a lot of us do. We chase big results without becoming the person who can sustain them. That's why they collapse under pressure. That's why they self-sabotage, punishment. That's why they get the thing they always wanted and still feel empty. Self-building is not about perfection. It's about preparation. It's about showing up for yourself every single day, whether or not there's an audience, punishment. It's the discipline of learning when it would be easier to scroll. It's the habit of working out when nobody is checking your progress. It's the commitment to speaking the truth when lying would be easier. Punishment. And here's the part people miss. Those small unseen choices are not wasted. They're stacking up. They're building the kind of person who can walk into any room and belong there. But your habits are like silent witnesses to your future. They'll either testify for you or against you. If your daily actions are lazy, distracted, and reactive, they're going to tell on you when it counts. Punishment. But if your daily actions are intentional, disciplined, and focused, they're going to speak for you when you need them most. And the beautiful thing, you don't have to convince anyone else. Your results will do the talking. Punishment, I'm not saying it's easy. In fact, it's the opposite. Self-building is the most uncomfortable work you'll ever do. It means confronting your weaknesses instead of hiding them. It means saying no when you'd rather say yes. Punishment, it means doing the boring, unsexy, repetitive stuff that nobody claps for. But here's the payoff. When the opportunity comes, you don't have to scramble to get ready. You are ready. The hidden shortcut is not about skipping steps. It's about taking the right steps now so you don't waste years later trying to catch up. It's about becoming so prepared that when your big moment finally arrives, punishment. You don't just survive it, you dominate it, you own it. Because you've already built yourself into a kind of person who was made for it. And that's not magic. That's not luck. That's self-building punishment. And it's the smartest shortcut you'll ever take. We all like to think we can outsmart the parts of ourselves we don't like. That if we just keep moving fast enough, achieving enough, punishment, distracting ourselves enough, our weaknesses won't matter. We tell ourselves, I'll deal with that later. Later when I'm less busy. Later when the timing is better. Later when the pressure isn't so high. Punishment. But here's the thing about later. Later always comes when you least expect it, and it usually shows up at the worst possible moment. Your weaknesses are like unpaid bills. You can ignore them, hide them in the drawer, punishment. Pretend they're not there, but they're still stacking up interest. And one day the due date arrives, and when it does, you can't talk your way out of it. You can't wing your way through it. You either have the skills, the discipline, the emotional strength to handle it, or you don't. That's why self-development isn't optional if you actually want long-term success. Punishment. It's not a luxury for people who have extra time. It's the thing that determines whether or not you can hold on to the success you're chasing. See, weaknesses don't always show up in obvious ways. They sneak in through stress. Punishment, they expose themselves in pressure. They leak out in moments you thought you could handle. You might think your tendency to procrastinate is just a little bad habit until $1 million opportunity comes along and you miss the deadline. Punishment. You might think your poor communication isn't a big deal until you're leading a team and they can't trust what you say. Punishment. You might think your lack of discipline around money is just something I'll figure out later until the business you worked years to build collapses because you can't manage cash flow. Punishment. Weaknesses don't disappear because you've made it. In fact, success has a way of magnifying them. When you're on a bigger stage, more people can see the cracks. The higher you go, the more pressure you face. Punishment and pressure doesn't create weaknesses. That's why the best time to work on yourself is before you need it. before you're in the high pressure situation, before everything is riding on your ability to perform. Because self-development is slow work. You can't binge it like a Netflix series. You build it day by day, decision by decision. It's like training for a marathon. You don't start running 26 miles the day before the race. You train months in advance. You prepare your body so that when race day comes, you don't have to wonder if you can finish. You know you can. Punishment. Because you've already done the work. So let me say this plainly: stop thinking you can outrun the parts of yourself you refuse to fix. Stop hoping your charm will cover for your lack of preparation. Punishment. Stop believing that talent will make up for the discipline you're avoiding. Because one day, the moment you've been chasing will arrive, and you'll either rise to it or be crushed by it. And this isn't about being perfect. Punishment. You're never going to eliminate every weakness, but you can face them. You can improve them. You can build systems and habits that keep them from running your life. If you know you're bad with time management, learn to plan your day. Punishment. If you struggle with public speaking, practice until you're confident. If you lack patience, work on controlling your reactions. The biggest mistake is thinking your weaknesses make you unworthy of success. They don't. Punishment. They make you human, but ignoring them makes you unprepared. And unprepared people lose opportunities they were capable of winning simply because they skipped the work. Here's the truth: the people you admire, the ones who make success look effortless, didn't get there by avoiding their weaknesses. They confronted them early. They built themselves to handle what they wanted. And when their big moment came, punishment. They didn't have to fake confidence. They had it. You can't outrun your weaknesses. They're faster than you. They'll find you in the boardroom, in the relationship, in the opportunity of a lifetime. But if you face them now, punishment. They can't take you out later. Do the work today so tomorrow doesn't expose you. Because nothing hurts more than realizing you had the chance and you lost it, not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't ready. Punishment. You can be the smartest person in the room, the most talented, the most skilled. You can have the RA summe, the portfolio, the connections. But if you don't have character, none of it is stable. Because skills might open the door, punishment, but character is what keeps you in the room. Here's what people often miss. Skills can be learned fast. You can take a course, read a book, hire a coach, watch 100 YouTube tutorials. You can stack up certifications like trophies. Punishment. And that's good. You should want to be great at what you do. But character, that's not something you can cram for the night before it's tested. It's built piece by piece in how you live every single day. Think about it. Talent might get you the contract, but if you're unreliable, you'll lose the client. Skills might land you the leadership role, but if you lack integrity, you'll lose your team's trust. Your abilities might make you famous, but if you let arrogance run wild, you'll watch that fame turn to infamy. Success built only on skills is like building a house on sand. It might look beautiful on the outside. It might impress everybody who drives by. Punishment. But the first storm will tell the truth, because storms don't care how nice the paint is. They care about the foundation. And character is your foundation. Character is doing the right thing when it's not convenient. Punishment. It's telling the truth when lying would save you. It's following through on promises even when you don't feel like it anymore. It's choosing respect over ego. It's refusing to cut corners just to get ahead. Punishment. And here's the catch. No one applauds you for this in the moment. It's not glamorous. There's no instant reward. But the people who live this way build a reputation that outlasts trends, markets, and opportunities. Punishment, because skills can get outdated. Technology changes. Industries shift. Methods evolve. What you know today might not even be relevant 5 years from now. But character, that doesn't expire. Honesty will always matter. Punishment, reliability will always matter. Humility will always matter. If you've ever wondered why some of the most talented people you know never seem to make it, while others with less talent thrive for decades, it's often this. The first group relied on their skills alone. The second group paired skills with character. And that combination is rare. That combination makes you unshakable. Here's the thing. Skills might get people to notice you. Punishment. But character makes them want to work with you again. Skills might earn you a quick win, but character earns you loyalty, respect, and trust. And in the long game of success, trust is worth more than any skill set. Now, let's be real. Punishment. Building character is harder than building skills. Skills are external. You can see your progress, measure it, track it. Character work happens in private. Nobody claps for you when you choose not to gossip. Punishment. No one gives you a medal for admitting you made a mistake. No one posts a highlight reel of your everyday honesty. But those are the things that shape you into the kind of person success can't break. Punishment. You want to know the real danger of skills without character. It's not just that you might lose what you built, it's that you might destroy it yourself. Because without character, success can actually magnify your flaws. Punishment. Power without humility becomes arrogance. Money without discipline becomes greed. Influence without integrity becomes corruption. And once you lose your reputation, it's nearly impossible to get it back. So here's the shift. Stop asking only, what do I need to learn? And start asking, who do I need to become? Yes, sharpen your skills. Be the best at your craft. But while you're doing that, build the character to match. Work on your patience. Punishment. Strengthen your self-control. Learn to listen more than you speak. Treat people with the same respect whether they can help you or not. Because when your skills and your character grow together, you become unstoppable. Like punishment. You're not just someone who can do the job. You're someone people trust with the job. You're not just chasing success. You're becoming the kind of person who can carry it without losing yourself. Punishment. And that's the difference between a career that burns bright for a moment and a life that shines for decades. Most people think their RA summary is just a piece of paper, a list of titles, dates, punishment, and bullet points about what they've done. But here's the truth before anyone reads your RA summary, before you even get the chance to talk about your achievements, you've already been interviewed. And the interviewer. Your daily habits, your habits are telling your story long before you open your mouth. They're the silent proof of whether you're disciplined, focused, reliable, or not. You can say you're committed, punishment. But if you hit snooze 5 times every morning, your habits are telling a different story. You can claim you're serious about success, but if you spend more time scrolling than learning, your habits are quietly disagreeing with you, punishment. We all have a RA sume that nobody sees, the one we're building every single day when no one's watching. That hidden RA sume is more important than the one you hand to an employer, a client, or an investor, punishment. Because it's the one that shows whether you actually live the life you talk about. If you have habits of discipline, those habits speak for you. If you're consistent in your work, if you finish what you start, punishment. If you show up even when you don't feel like it, you've already passed the first test. People can sense that. They can tell when you're not just putting on a show for them. But the opposite is true too. Sloppy habits leave a trail. You can't hide them. If you're always late, if you leave things unfinished, if you only work hard when someone's looking, that shows. And when opportunities come, people hesitate to give them to you. Punishment. Not because they don't like you, but because your habits don't convince them you're ready. Here's the thing, your habits are not neutral. They're either building your credibility or chipping away at it. Every choice you make, punishment. Every small action you take is adding a line to your hidden RA summary. And over time, those lines add up to a reputation. Think about the people you respect the most. It's probably not just because they're talented. Punishment. It's because they're consistent, because you know they'll deliver, because their habits match their words. That's why you trust them. And that's exactly why people will or won't trust you. Daily habits are like silent training sessions for your future. You're either preparing yourself for the opportunities you want, or you're proving that you can't handle them yet. And the crazy part, punishment. Most people wait until the opportunity shows up before they try to get ready. But by then, it's too late. You don't start training for the Olympics after you're already on the track. Punishment. You train every day so that when the moment comes, you don't have to think, you just perform. That's why the little things matter. Making your bed, showing up on time, keeping your word. Punishment. Doing what you said you'd do even when nobody's checking. It's not about the bed or the clock or the tiny task. It's about proving to yourself and to others that you are dependable. Punishment. That you can be trusted with bigger things because you've mastered the small ones. Some people will hear this and think that's too much work. Punishment. It's not a big deal. And that's fine. But those are the same people who will wonder years from now why they're still waiting for their break. Your habits are either moving you toward your goals or keeping you stuck where you are. There's no in between. And here's the best part. You have total control over your hidden RA summary. You can rewrite it starting today. Punishment. You can start showing up earlier, keeping promises, prioritizing growth over comfort. You can decide that every action you take from this moment forward will quietly prove that you're ready for the opportunities you're chasing. Punishment. Because here's the truth, you don't get the big opportunities because you want them. You get them because you've shown through your habits that you can handle them. And when people see that punishment, they don't have to guess about your potential. They know. So stop worrying about who's noticing you right now. Start building the kind of habits that make people notice without you having to say a word. Punishment. Let your daily actions speak louder than your claims. Let your hidden RA sum A be so strong that when the right person sees it, they won't hesitate. They'll hand you the opportunity because you've already proven you're ready. Punishment. We often imagine confidence as this magical switch you just flip on, like one day you wake up, look in the mirror, and suddenly feel unshakable. But real confidence doesn't work that way. It's not something you wake up with, punishment. It's something you earn, and the way you earn it, small disciplines repeated every single day. The problem is most people think the big wins are what give them confidence. They think, when I land that promotion, when I make that money, when people start noticing me, then I'll feel confident. But that's backwards. Those big wins don't create confidence, they reveal it. Punishment. And if you haven't been building it quietly all along, you won't have it when you need it most. Small disciplines are the training ground for confidence. Punishment. When you keep promises to yourself, even tiny ones, you're teaching your brain that you can be trusted, that you follow through, that when you set an intention, you deliver. That's the root of confidence. Punishment. It's not about believing you'll never fail. It's about knowing you'll show up no matter what. Here's the thing about small disciplines, they look insignificant in the moment. Drinking a glass of water instead of soda, reading 10 pages of a book instead of scrolling, going for a walk when it would be easier to stay on the couch, waking up when your alarm rings instead of hitting snooze. None of those things are going to make headlines. Punishment. Nobody's clapping for you. But each one is a deposit in your confidence account. And confidence, like money, grows with compound interest. The more you deposit, the more it multiplies. Every time you keep a commitment to yourself, punishment. It gets a little easier to keep the next one. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, your belief in yourself grows. Over time, those tiny acts stack up into something unshakable. Think about the opposite for a second. Punishment. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you're withdrawing from that account. You're training yourself not to believe in your own words. And if you've ever wondered why you struggle with self-doubt, punishment. Sometimes it's because deep down, you know you haven't been showing up for yourself. Credibility works the same way, both with yourself and with others. People don't trust you because you make one big gesture. Punishment. They trust you because you show up consistently over time. If you're reliable in the small things, they'll trust you with the big ones. If you flake on the little stuff, they'll question whether you can handle more. Punishment. The most confident people you know aren't necessarily the loudest or the flashiest. They're the ones who know they can handle whatever comes because they've trained for it. Punishment. They've built themselves through 1,000 small disciplines no one saw. And when the big moment arrives, the presentation, the deal, the opportunity, they don't panic. They don't have to pretend. They're ready. Punishment. Because they've been preparing quietly all along. The best part, you don't need to wait for some perfect time to start. You don't need a massive plan. Just pick one small discipline and do it today. Then do it tomorrow and the next day. Start with something so simple you can't fail. Make your bed, write for 5 minutes, walk for 10, drink more water, read 1 page. The habit isn't the point. Punishment. The point is proving to yourself that you can follow through. Over time, these little wins stack into big changes. You start to stand taller. You speak with more certainty. You make decisions faster. Punishment, because you've built proof that you can rely on yourself, and that's what confidence actually is. So if you want to feel unstoppable a year from now, don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Punishment. Start with the smallest disciplines you can commit to today. Keep stacking them, keep showing up, keep proving yourself right. Punishment. Because every small choice you make now is shaping the version of you who will walk into that big moment later, not hoping to be ready, but knowing you already are. That's the quiet truth. Consistency turns into credibility. Punishment and credibility turns into confidence that nobody can take away from you. Everybody wants to win big. Everyone wants the life-changing moment, the breakthrough deal, the once-in-a-lifetime shot. And when we think about it, punishment, we imagine ourselves in the spotlight, confident, ready, nailing it. But here's the catch, that moment you're dreaming about. It's not the time to start getting ready. By the time it shows up, punishment. The preparation window is already closed. The fastest way to win big is to prepare quietly. No announcements, no broadcasting, no telling the whole world what you're about to do. Just doing the work when nobody's paying attention. Punishment. Most people don't like that advice because it doesn't come with instant validation. We live in a culture where we want to show progress before we even make progress. We want to post the plan before we've taken the first step. Punishment. And we confuse attention for achievement. But attention won't save you if you're unprepared when it counts. Opportunity doesn't give you a calendar invite months in advance. It doesn't text you to say, hey, punishment, I'll be there in April, start practicing now. It just shows up. And if you've been quietly sharpening your skills, building your discipline, and preparing in the dark, that's when you get to shine. Think about it like this: punishment. The athletes don't start training when the championship is scheduled. They train all year. They practice drills they'll never get applause for. They work on weaknesses nobody sees. And when game day comes, they're not scrambling to rise to the occasion. They simply perform at the level they've been practicing at all along. That's what quiet preparation does. It eliminates the panic. It replaces, "I hope I can do this," with, "I've done this 100 times before." But here's the truth most people avoid. Preparing quietly is boring. It's repetitive. It's the same exercises, the same routines, punishment, the same habits over and over again. Nobody claps for it. Nobody's cheering you on every day. And that's exactly why most people don't stick with it. The danger is if you skip this stage, punishment. You might still get your big shot, but you won't be able to keep it, and that's worse than not getting it at all. Nothing will humble you faster than realizing you were handed the thing you always wanted and you weren't ready for it. Quiet preparation is also your safety net. It keeps you grounded. Punishment, when you've been putting in the work for months or years before anyone notices, you're not relying on luck to succeed. You're relying on proof, the proof you've built through practice, repetition, and discipline. And here's the other benefit: when you prepare quietly, you don't burn out from trying to impress people too soon. You're not wasting energy on appearances. You're not constantly worried about how you look doing the work. You're just doing it. And that means when the spotlight finally hits you, you still have energy left to perform. I'll tell you this: the people who look lucky are usually the ones who have been preparing in private for years. Punishment. You just didn't see it. You saw the speech, the launch, the win, that award. You didn't see the late nights, the early mornings, the boring drills, the self-doubt they pushed through, the mistakes they learned from. So here's the real shortcut: stop chasing the moment, start chasing the readiness. If you become the kind of person who's always in shape for the opportunity, you don't have to worry about when it shows up, because when it does, you won't need to get ready. You'll already be ready. That's the fastest way to win big. Not talking about it, not hoping for it, not waiting for perfect timing, just doing the unglamorous, unseen work today so that tomorrow, when the door opens, you can walk through it like you've been there 1,000 times before.